And something struck me out the blue when I was getting my nails done one day is that the nail technician kept saying like, relax your hand. And I'm like, I am relaxed.
But she wasn't.
No. And then as I thought about it though, I was like, all my life, because I've been probably getting my nails done since we were like in high school, they always are saying it like, relax your hand. And I'm like, I am relaxed.
But you're not.
But then I realized I could be driving and I'm stiff. I could be getting my nails done and I'm stiff. I could be getting a massage and it feels so relaxing, but a part of me is still stiff because I realize, like that book, The Body Keeps Score, my body has kept score of all of my trauma, all of my issues, all of my baggage. And so even when I think I'm happy and I'm chilling and I'm relaxed, I'm not.
Today on this episode of the Pain and the Purpose podcast, I'm talking to the lovely Neka Jackson, and I created this space, a safe space for people to come and share their real stories, and in hopes of helping you, the listener. It just so happened that she's a real life therapist, a licensed therapist. So we're gonna have a great conversation today as we unpack some of the things that she went through. Hopefully, we can help y'all. With that being said, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
You came in hot.
I mean, you asked me a question and it just triggered like all kind of thoughts.
So I don't think that we'll be able to recapture that. But you were talking about how you were just talking about how your body keeps the score.
I was. So the original question that you asked me was like, what do I want to talk about? And I wasn't prepared for that question. Um, but I think that everything happens the way it's supposed to,
Yes.
like by design. And I just so happened to choose a shirt that says, it's okay not to be okay. And as I was driving here, I was like, you know what? It is really okay
To not
not
be
not
okay.
be okay. And I think that a lot of the issues that we have as people, as men, as women, as human beings, is that we don't allow ourselves not to be okay. We're always performing. And when I was just talking about the body keeping score, is because I realized that all my life I've been performing. You know, I said all of the traumas that I've been through, all of the abuse that I've been through, all of the disappointments that I've been through, all of my grief from the losses in my life, I've had to just push it down because I always had to be on. You know, whether it was you have to go to work, you got to pay bills, you got to cook, you got to clean, you got to be a mom. You you can't tell people your problems because you can't trust people. They're going to judge you. They're going to spread it. So you keep pushing it down. And I realized that even when I'm doing the most relaxing things in my life, to me, massages, chiropractor, getting my nails done, I'm not relaxed. My body is stiff. Even when I'm driving, like literally, I realized that I have a seat and a headrest and I drive sitting straight up like this. And so when I realized that
Still to this day?
I'm trying to be intentional about not doing it. So I was telling you, I was at the nail shop getting my nails done, and the lady kept saying like, "Relax your hand," and I was like, "I am relaxed." You know, she kept saying, "Relax your hand," and I was almost getting irritated. Like I'm trying to listen to my music, like I am relaxed. And then I realized I wasn't. And when I realized that I wasn't, and I thought about the thousands of times they've told me this as I've been getting my nails done for multiple decades, it made me sad. And it made me depressed. It made me angry because I was like, all this time, I've been coming here for self care to be relaxed, and I am not relaxed. And then when I asked myself why, it's because me, even though I'm a therapist, I'm a human being first,
Yes.
that I have all of this shit that I have had to push down that I haven't even dealt with, and I've just been walking around the world carrying it.
And so you keep saying the body keeps the score. I think that's only half of the statement, though.
Okay.
The mind remembers the plays,
Absolutely.
the plays that actually happened,
Hmm.
and they remember the plays that it actually wanted to happen back then. So, in order for the body not to keep score, we have to go back and deal with those plays.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like you cannot heal what you don't reveal. If you don't process it,
Exactly.
then it stays with you. And I agree with you because I could be exhausted. You could be exhausted, but your mind will not allow you to go to sleep because you have all of these thoughts going through your mind. What happened? how it happened. I don't understand why it happened, how I wished the outcome would have been. And so your body could just be like, I'm exhausted, you can barely keep your eyes open. But I feel like it's true. Like, even when we fall asleep, you have these dreams. All of these things are replaying in your mind because you haven't processed it. You haven't dealt with it. You haven't healed it.
And so that leads me to ask you, when are you gonna deal with it? Like, and then I battle this. Like, how far do we go back? You know what I'm saying? Because like we've been dealing with trauma for a long time, and so how do we pick and choose which stories? And you a therapist, so maybe you can share what, like, how do you pick which stories to process, and when do you process them?
I think that, to answer your question, is that it has to be organic. I don't think that you have to go in any particular order. But if you really want to start from the root of it, you're supposed to go all the way back. And none of us, most of us, we don't want to go all the way back there, because every time you think about it and you remember it and you talk about it, you have to relive it every time. And then you don't want to relive that. You don't want to relive abandonment. You don't want to relive physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse, being hungry, not being able to pay your bills, disappointing your parents, failing your children, whatever it is. You don't want to deal with that, because you cannot talk about it and process it without reliving it. And we all, no matter how tough we are, we have a fear of reliving that, because at that time when we were going through, we thought it was going to break us. We weren't going to survive it. And we're like, okay, we made it over that hurdle. I don't want to look back there. But the truth is that we have to. If we don't, we're going to continue to carry it. It's going to continue to affect us mentally, physically, spiritually. It's going to show up in our relationships. It's going to show up in how we take care of ourselves, how we show up in the world. And that's how the crash out happens. It's 9 times out of 10, when somebody crashes out, it's not because of what you said to them right now. It's that was just the breaking point.
True that.
You know what I mean?
I believe
So we
that.
have to be courageous. You know what I mean? And so when you're asking me, like, do I still drive like that? Yes. But then when I recognize it, I try to take deep breaths and I try to be intentional to relax. I'm being intentional about taking breaks. I'm being intentional about putting my priorities before others now. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, we just pass it down. And then how much of your trauma, how much of my trauma have we passed on to our kids, to our partners, to our friends?
I just released a video this morning. I passed that trauma down to my great. I passed that trauma down to my grandchild. I got 7 grandchildren. The one who lived with me don't want to be around me because he got whooped, and he was 4 or 5 at the time. And now our birthday's the same day, so our
Mm-hmm.
birthday's coming up, and he'll be 12. And so he'll be like, "Tell Grandpa Darren I said hi, but I don't want to sing." You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? And so I'm living that real life, real time.
Mm-hmm.
I have been forced to go back
Mm-hmm.
because I lost my child. And you talking about some trauma. For the last 2.5 years, I have been revisiting my childhood. That's why I started talking about my suicide attempts. That's why I started talking about, to a certain extent, uh, the physical abuse that I suffered as a child.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's a fine line because I'm doing it on camera,
Mm-hmm.
not to throw people under the bus.
Right.
But Cat Williams said it best.
And it's funny that you say that, because a lot of people know, people who really know me intimately know that I've been writing for a long time. And I wasn't writing fiction, I was writing my truth. And everybody is like, why are you not going to finish your book? And it's because a lot of people would be thrown under the bus. You,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And it's like, as much as those people hurt you, you still, for some reason, have this attachment, probably unhealthy, or this alliance, this loyalty, to not want to expose them and throw them under the bus, right? But is it really throwing them under the bus, or Is it processing your pain to turn it into a purpose so you can break the cycle of passing this generational trauma down? You know what I mean? And that's a choice, and it's a scary choice because we have no control over how somebody will respond. And the unfortunate truth is, no matter what that person did to me, depending on who that person is or represents in my life, you still don't want to hurt them. You still, for what I know for me, is not only do I not want to hurt them, but the little girl in me still wants their love, still wants their nurturing, still wants their protectiveness. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
so it's
I
like
do.
I'm giving them what it is that I needed from them.
And
And it's
so,
doing me a disservice.
uh, one of the main people is my father,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I want to have a conversation with him so bad, but he just won't talk, right? But I'm coming across other people in my age group, and
Mm-hmm.
their parents won't talk either.
For me, it's my mother, and she absolutely won't talk. I've tried to have conversations with her. Um, I've even written letters to her, and I did the best I could. And she gets angry, she lashes out, she'll hang up, she'll shut down. And even when I wrote her a letter, it was like the most loving letter. It was like I started it off with love, like, this is not for judgment. This is because I want us to have a better relationship. Being an adult now, a mother now, someone who's lived life and been through some shit now, I have a
Yeah.
lot of empathy for you and understanding for your journey. But I just need you to know how you impacted me and how that caused me to show up in the world as a human, as a parent, as a friend, as a partner. I even gave it to her in a nice little card with a plant because she loves plants, and she never responded.
So I'll say this: the last time I tried to have a conversation with my dad, it was me, him, and my brother.
Okay.
We was at a restaurant, and I asked him a question, and then I went over one of my suicide attempts, and he straight up told me that I've never attempted suicide, even though I got the scar. You know what I'm saying? And my brother kicked me under the table. He was like, leave it alone.
He not ready.
He not ready.
Mm-hmm.
And then that, and when him and my mom separated, a narrative was put out about my mom, and he never corrected it.
Mm.
Then we lost our mom, and her friends finally came out like, we've been trying to tell you this for years, but your mom wouldn't let us.
And now you don't have the
And
opportunity
now I
to
don't
go
have the
have,
opportunity.
right.
And the relationship that was me and my brother, we don't have no regrets about our mom because we did the best we could with our mom, and we understand that our mom also has some challenges of her own,
Mm-hmm.
but that situation didn't help.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you allowed us to have a narrative about our mom our whole life. Because when my parents separated, my dad took us, but he didn't really take us. My mom was 28, never had a job in her life. It was a stay at home mom,
Mm-hmm.
and then my dad got caught in a situation, and my mom left, and she didn't have no place to go, so she couldn't take us even if she
Right.
wanted to,
Right. Because she didn't have anywhere to
because
take you guys to.
she didn't have nowhere to go. And then by the time she did find some place to go, we was comfortable.
With your dad.
And then my mom had a drinking problem too, so when we would go to my mom, now we two kids from East Oakland going to
Mm-hmm.
Union City. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying?
Yeah.
So Union City is like you got two East Oakland kids
Mm-hmm.
running through Union City, causing havoc, wreaking havoc.
Mm-hmm.
Because I spoke about this the other day. Me having to go to school in Sobrani and fight people in Sobrani and get bullied when I go to Union City. Ah, man,
You the bully.
I'm the bully. Until I
Yeah.
realized that that's not the way you're supposed
That's
to
not the way
live.
it's supposed to be.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But I'm a kid. You know what I'm saying?
But
So
we keep that all the way into our adulthood,
and we
and
keep
that's
it.
when we normalize. It's like, okay, so this is, abuse is normal behavior. Being aggressive is normal. Fighting is normal. You know what I mean? Not talking to a child and just telling them to stay in their place and not allowing them to use their voice and whooping them. That's normal because that's what we went through. And then we didn't enjoy it. We didn't like it. So we not only are we growing up angry and being and confused and being, partners and parents and friends, we're exacerbating that whole situation even worse because we haven't dealt with our pain and our trauma. So when you bump into me and you be like, excuse me, no, I'm ready to like set the whole world on fire because now is my opportunity. Because when I couldn't speak up, when I couldn't fight back, I felt hopeless. I felt, like I didn't have, like a victim. And then you refuse to have that victim mentality anymore. And then you create victims.
You create a monster, right?
Yes.
So not solely that, but I got suspended a lot for fighting. And I've said this on camera before too, and I went to bed till I was 14. Just traumatized.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I went to bed, I'd get whooped.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd go to school and fight, get suspended, come home and get whooped again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
So it's
saying?
just that
And so
that cycle.
it's a cycle, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so like it's not until I'm thinking about everything I've been through now and I'm trying to stay safe and sane now as I'm damn near 49. I'll be 49 this year. And I'm like, I can't crash out now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As much as me and my brother talk, and I just explained to him a situation the other day, and he was like, I forgot about that. I'm like, I can't forget about it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
this just not being able to process my emotions
Yeah.
kept me in this whirlwind of trauma, of abuse. And then I go to my grandmother's house, which was my safe space, and then my older cousins will come and then they'll do shit to me. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because we was we was kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're triggering.
They're just
We're being kids, but they're triggering the
they're
trauma that you
triggering
already have.
more. And so now I gotta fight somebody else because y'all older than me. I can't whoop y'all, so now I gotta go beat somebody else up.
Yep.
Or at least go have a fight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So just understanding everything that I've been through and reading the books and doing everything that I possibly can to stay safe and sane, I have been dealing with a lot of my past trauma and understanding that like the body keeps the score, but the mind remember the plays. Like I said, that did happen, and the ones that it wished it happened, the times that
Yep.
you wished your father said you
I
loved.
was going to say you need to really emphasize the ones that you wished would have happened,
Yeah.
because when you talk about, again, when you talk about like a mother and a father, right? Everything in the world, society tells us like we could be born with 5 heads and 18 toes. Those are the people that's supposed to love us the most and keep us safe and tell us that we're beautiful and build us up. When they're the ones that tear us down, they create this vicious cycle of people who feel unlovable, unworthy, bitter, angry, resentful, with a low self worth, low self esteem. And when you have a person walking around like that, but they look normal, you know what I mean? And the person coming into your life, or who makes a mistake, or who disappoints you, they don't realize they're triggering all that old stuff, and then you just explode, and they're confused, and so they become collateral damage because we became collateral damage, because my mother, my father, your mother, your father, they also had a journey, and we don't know what that was that made them who they were. Whether it was abuse, whether it was addiction, whether it was neglect, whatever it is, we've all been through something, and what we don't do is give each other and
Grace.
ourselves grace.
And I'm working on that. I'm working on giving my father grace because I understand now that everybody got a backstory.
Exactly.
And so that's why I would love to talk to my father to learn his backstory, but he won't talk. And now I'm trying to process, how do I give him grace or continue to give him grace without knowing his backstory?
And I would say because you can do that because now you have a backstory. And it took you all this time and to go through something unimaginable for you to be forced to have to deal with your shit. And you don't know what his backstory is. It could be something that if he talks about it, he feels like he believes it will break him. You know what I mean? And so, how many times have all of us, we get up in the morning, we put on this armor, we take this deep breath, and we going out into the world. And we're not telling nobody our stuff. You're starting to do it now. I
Yeah.
self disclose a lot now because I realize the importance of healing. But a lot of people don't feel safe enough to do it. Maybe he tried to talk to other people before and they didn't believe him. They minimized it, they brushed it under the rug. You know what I mean? And then as men, I mean, you guys have this facade, you know what
Machismo,
I
this
mean? Yeah,
machoism.
I'm strong.
Yeah.
I can't be weak and definitely can't be weak to my children. You know what I mean? Especially my children that are men. You know what I mean? I'm sure he knows that he's disappointed. He didn't show up, but to admit that, that's shame. You know what I mean? That's vulnerability that most of us are not willing to expose. I've had to apologize to my children. I've had to um, try to explain to them how I felt them and why I felt them. But the truth of the matter is, and this is in family relationships, friendships, intimate relationships, you could say you're sorry and you could explain why, but you have no control over how that person receives it, if it's going to make them feel better, if they're going to have patience for you, empathy for you, understanding, or forgive you. That's scary. So people avoid the situation at all. They're like, okay, we still talking, we still seeing each other. I'll take this.
Yeah.
Afraid to have the uncomfortable conversation and to sit in the shit, which honestly, the transparency and the candidness and being and the vulnerability breeds patience and love and understanding and deepens the relationship. But people are afraid of what if it doesn't?
And so, correct. And so I flipped it because I left I left my kid's mom in 2014, and we had a terrible divorce, and I didn't handle that correctly.
Okay.
So 2017, I started going back and talking to my children and letting them. So I forgot what I read, but I was punishing them for things I never taught them.
Hmm.
So I went back, and so like Nana, she was my firecracker. So
Okay.
I gave her the green light to talk to me any way she wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
and for like the first 6 months, she was crazy with it. She went on Facebook, called me out my name and all type of stuff, but I'm like, I deserve that.
Hmm.
I deserve that. And
Okay.
so because 2017 happened and I went back and I rebuilt the relationship with my children, I was okay with 2023 happening. And not okay from a standpoint that I wanted it to happen, but the day before, me and her just had a 2-hour conversation and it was beautiful. You know what I'm
So you
saying?
could be at peace with there
So
was no unfinished
it
business and
was
no
no unfinished
regrets.
business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
so I would hate for something to happen to me and it's just unfinished business.
I
But
think about that all the time. Like I'm an only child with my mom. And I think about that all the time. Like now she's 73 and not in the best health. And being the only child to a single mother who's still single, I have to show up for her. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Even when I don't feel like it, even when it's uncomfortable for me, I thug through that shit because that's my mother, and she don't have nobody else. But my worst fear is we'll never have that conversation that I need, and I'm gonna have to live with it and continue to compartmentalize it and sit on it because she refuses to do it.
and a part of me just say, that shit unfair.
It is unfair because I did it for a long time to my kids. Like, I don't want to talk about that stuff. Like, okay, yeah, we know what happened. I apologize. Like, let's move on. But they
Yeah, it
needed to
goes
have
deep.
a,
It goes
but it
deeper than
goes
the
way
it
deeper
goes
than
deeper
that.
than the apology.
It does. It does. And I had to sit in it, and I have had to listen to them, and I've had to own it, and I've had to say, you're right. Like, I failed you. I didn't show up. I wasn't thinking about what you needed. I stifled your voice in the same way that my voice was stifled. And I'll be honest, they don't want to hear that shit either. They don't want to hear, like, well, you did it to me because it was done to you. They don't want to hear that either. They're like, but you didn't like the way it made you feel,
And you still
and you
did it.
still did it. And when I think about that, I'm like, that's true. And it's because we normalize toxic, chaotic behavior. Because especially if it comes from your parents, those are our first examples. Those are the people that teach us. And then they have fucked up relationships with their siblings and their
Yeah.
significant others and their parents. And so that's what we grew up in. So that's what we thought was that was just life.
And it's not, that's not the way it's supposed to
No.
be. And so I'm working on it. I'm working on the navigating that very I wouldn't even say difficult, that very traumatic relationship. Because I remember as a child, I remember when I was about 18, 19, after he kicked me out, I came across this pillow that said, a father is somebody you look up to no matter how tall you get.
Mm-hmm.
And you see my dad, he
Yes.
hella little,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
and so the little kid in me still believes that, right? While the grown man, like, we need to have a conversation.
See, that goes back to what I said. I've told my mother many times, like, I'm grown. Like, I'm grown. I got kids. I have a grandchild. Like, I pay taxes. Like, all of this shit. But you still have the ability, depending on how you respond to me, to make me feel like I'm 5 years old. That 5-year-old little girl who is just begging for some positive attention from you, begging you to love me, performing, wanting to be perfect. I remember this very vividly. Remember that old school brown paper where we learned how to write cursive
Yeah,
on back in the
yeah,
day? I remember I used to write my mother thank you letters for thank you for feeding me. Thank you for X, Y, and Z. Then the shit that I realized as a little kid, why was I trying to thank her for these things? It's because I didn't want her to be mad that day. I didn't want her to spaz out that day. I didn't want her to beat me that day. I didn't want her to call me out my name that day. She hated my father and hated me because I looked just like my father. And used to tell me, like, I got stuck with your ass and your father out there living his life and then beating me for it. You know what I mean? So I
yeah.
remember, let me make up my bed perfectly. Let me get the best grades in school. Let me write her these notes. Let me draw her these pictures because I just wanted to have a peaceful day. You understand what I'm
I
saying?
definitely understand what
Like,
you're
my mother
saying.
put me outside on the porch when I was 4 with a busted lip, a bloody nose, and all of my shit in a box at, I don't know what time it was, but it was dark, and called my grandfather to come and pick me up and beat me for calling her mama. You know what I mean? So, but that's the person who was supposed to love me no matter
It's supposed to
what.
love you unconditionally, and so, and when it comes to a father, right? The father's supposed to be the provider and the
The
protector.
protector. And I resented my father for that.
And my father was my first bully.
And I resented my father for leaving me. Like, and we did have a conversation before he died. I was like, why the fuck did you leave me there?
Yeah,
When she told me that I couldn't have you. Well, why the fuck you didn't fight for me though? Because you didn't fight for me, then this is what I had to endure, and then this is what it made me. Because I wasn't the most calm girl. You know what I mean? I was angry. I was violent.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I gravitated towards all of the bad people because I felt like those were the people that was going to keep me safe. I definitely got with the wrong person just trying to get the hell out of my mama house.
yeah. And so, yeah, so this conversation is bringing back so many memories, but it's also giving me permission to give him a little bit more grace.
Yes.
And so because even as we speak, I'm like, it is so many times where I needed him to protect me, and it seemed like he left me uncovered.
But what if he didn't know how?
And so I go to that too. Like that's why everybody got a backstory, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was the baby boy. You know what I'm saying? I think he is the youngest child, and so he got older brother. So now I'm thinking, because thinking about my uncles, like they probably wasn't the nicest to him. You know what I'm saying?
Or the people in his environment. It could have been uncles, it could have been his siblings, it could have been like for my uncle, it was his uncle.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? When I read my uncle's book, like my heart broke for my uncle. I've never seen my uncle as a big guy like you and your brother. Like, he exudes alpha. But when I read what he went through, like it broke my heart. You understand what I'm
yeah.
saying? So we don't know how they were abused, in what ways they were abused. You don't know that when they did try to, if they did try to speak up, if they did try to fight back, you don't know for whatever was happening to them. We don't know how their voices were suppressed. We don't know if they got punished for that. You know what I mean? Or when you grow up in fear, it's hard to get out of that zone of fear. That's why we have people that have agoraphobia. They're afraid to go outside, and people think they're weird, but you don't know what happened to them when they went outside before. You know what I mean? You see people who don't talk. You know what I mean? They're very quiet. Maybe there's a reason why they're quiet. You
Yeah,
understand what I'm saying? You see people who are very emotional, people who you look at them the wrong way and they want to fight, and you be thinking like, "Oh, blood must be crazy," and it's like, maybe,
you just
maybe
never know.
not.
You just never
You
know what
just
a person.
never,
You
you
never know
just
what a
never
person went
know
through.
what a person has went through to make them that way, and so that's what has allowed me to show up for my mother when I don't feel like it, to forgive her, to give her grace and peace. You know what I mean? When I'm around her, no matter how she's showing up. I have to take them a couple of them purposeful pauses. You know what I mean? And say, you know what? But she's not healed. And then
Mm,
you also have to look at their generation. They were taught not to talk about things. What happens in the house stays in the house. Don't go tell our business. Who, what do you know if I know my grandparents didn't get no damn therapy. I know my mother wasn't going to therapy. Therapy is just something that people are just now, at least in our community,
yeah,
starting to embrace and see it as a healthy platform and a safe platform to go express themselves and to heal, because they want to break the cycle. And if we're being quite honest, it's our children who has made us want to break it.
definitely. Us want to be better people for our children, and for
And them,
me.
even them demanding it. Like, hold up, like I don't want to live this way. I don't want to be that kind of parent. So I need to heal. So I don't put on to my child what you put on to me, what your parents put on to you.
So for me, it was my grandchildren.
Okay.
It's my grandchildren, and so that's why I gotta make it right with my grandson. I got 7 grandkids and only
Mm-hmm.
got one that
Mm-hmm.
really don't want to be bothered with me, and so I got to make it right with him. But he only 12, so I got a lot of time
Mm-hmm.
ahead of us to make it right. And
Or
so
or do we? Because that's another thing
yeah,
that we all take for granted,
it's
right?
time.
Is that it's time. It's time. When we were just talking about that our worst fear is that that time will run out and we won't have an opportunity to have those conversations. For me, it's with my mother. For you, it's with your father. I had a conversation with my father, but then my father was murdered, so I can no longer have that conversation. You understand what I can't have any more conversations with him. So one thing I'm learning is that I can't take for granted that I will have another tomorrow. So even when I haven't felt like having those conversations with my kids, or I haven't felt like talking about this particular topic because I have to face, where I failed them or how I hurt them or how I abused them in some way, I have to do it because I think things happen. I never thought that I would lose my father or my cousin, or I wouldn't have any grandparents and all these different things. Time ran out. And I always say I don't want to leave them with that. So if they
Yeah,
need to have that conversation today, or they need to vent or get it off their chest today, then I'm gonna allow that, because God forbid something happens to me, and then they have to sit with that.
And so that's why so the situation with my grandson, he's in a position where I can't just call him, or I just can't. So, the first opportunity I get, I definitely will have that
Mm-hmm.
conversation with my grandson.
Mm-hmm.
I do it with my 6 other grandkids as much as I possibly can. And
Mm-hmm.
I was just on the phone with my second oldest daughter before you got here. And so uh, and I talked to my son whenever he called me, because my son incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
So I've did the best I could to rekindle all those conversations, and to my knowledge, all of my children now we're in a great space.
And you have to give yourself kudos for that, and grace that sometimes they'll have good days and bad days, because
Oh yeah,
again,
most
remember,
definitely.
the mind is crazy. I mean, I try to tell people all the time, like, the brain is so powerful. Like, I use the example, like, like, I was sexually abused, and this part isn't true, but if I would have been sexually abused in a red room, I would be triggered as hell in here with you right now.
Yeah.
You got on a red hat, it's red in the carpet, it's red on your shirt, and
Yeah.
I might not come in here thinking about that,
But
but my
but
brain
some things can
correlates
trigger
red
things.
to abuse. And now you're
Yeah.
like, okay, why is she in here anxious? Why is she in here tearful? Why is she irritable? I might not even realize it. So I try to tell people, pay attention to what triggers you in the moment. Like, if 2 minutes ago you were fine and now you're not, like, what has changed? Was it a sound? Was it a smell? Was it a word? Was it a color? You know what I mean? Did somebody shake your hand in the wrong way? Did they touch your shoulder and you're not comfortable with that? Like,
Yeah.
pay attention to that so you can address it. So sometimes when I might feel like a person is retreating from me, I give them that space, because I don't know what it is they're going through. Whether it might have something to do with me, it might not.
Yeah.
But just to understand, not to always personalize it, and know, like, as long as you've done your best to do the repair and you've made yourself available and you've shown up, that's the best that you can do.
Whew, you came in hot, and
But it is, because
that
you know
was
what I mean, because
that.
we can't go back and change what we've done, but what we can do is improve who we are today, try to show up differently. And one of the hardest things, and you know this more than anyone, and I know it more than anyone, because I've experienced extreme loss, nothing to the magnitude of a child, but just people have been robbed from me,
Yes.
is acceptance. Accepting that sometimes no matter how you show up, no matter what you do, that people are still gonna do whatever it is they feel is best for them. Some people can't move past things. Some people can't forgive. But as long as you showed up
And did the
and you
best I
tried,
could.
you cannot continue to hold yourself or allow anyone else to hold you in the bondage of some shit that you did, and you are no longer that person anymore. And I live by that, because I remember, again, I wasn't always this person. And I remember there were jobs that I wanted, and because of my past, they would, I might have got my shit expunged, but they run them fingerprints, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, you can't have a job. And I remember, I'm like, but that was like 100 years ago. I didn't went to school. I didn't got all these degrees. Um, and I remember my aunt, who was my safe space. She told me one time, she was like, Neka, if you have to answer to who you were back then, to a person, to a job, to whatever, that person is not for you.
Mm.
That person is not for you then, because you are no longer that person.
And why do you got to
Why
keep?
do I have to keep re explaining myself? Why do I have to keep validating that I have changed? Why do I have to keep performing to prove to you that I am genuine? That takes too much energy. That's too depleting. That's depressing. Then you have to be like, oh, then you have to keep reliving the mistake that you made that you're trying to move on from. You're no longer that person. Nobody deserves to be held in bondage to something that they did in the past. Murderers go to jail,
Yeah.
do their time, get out, and can restart.
And
That's not fair.
that's not fair. And that reminded me of something that I listened to some time ago. The lady said, you shouldn't have nothing to defend, nothing to prove, nothing to protect. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, as long as I didn't do nothing to them. And in my children case, like I did. So
Mm-hmm.
I went back and I corrected those because the best apology is change behavior.
Correct.
So first I had to work on myself and change who I
Correct.
was at the
Mm-hmm.
core.
Mm-hmm.
I was a stern father because I thought that's how I was supposed to be. And
Mm-hmm.
we were raised men provide and protect.
Mm-hmm.
It's not until I started having grandkids that I realized I'm supposed to nurture too.
Correct. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, something about those grandkids that turns on something else
Yeah, but the
inside of us.
grandkids
Yeah,
is your second chance to be a
it is.
parent,
It is.
and
It
so
is.
and they the best ones because you can get them, you can grab them, and you can
Give
give them
them
back.
back.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I am blessed that I am able to be in connection with
Mm-hmm.
people such as yourself because we've had conversations before,
Yeah.
right? And every time I have a conversation with you, you leave me with something to think about.
And it's likewise because when you meet someone or people, right, and they are in that same space where they can understand that we done all been through some shit, we done all fucked up, we done all been fucked up, we done been victims, we done been perpetrators,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, we done been, now we're survivors, and we are not afraid anymore to dig deep and to do the work and also to self-disclose
Yes.
without fear of being judged, without fear of being shamed, because I feel like everything that I went through, I have to believe that it was for a purpose. Otherwise, it's going to break me. You know what I mean? I have to believe that I'm turning my trials into testimonies, which is I try to post a nugget every day. I try to inspire,
You're
encourage,
good with that.
and I try to say that you have no idea what I've been through. Most people don't know 30% of what I've been through, and I'm still trying to show up. So if I always say, if I can do it, I know you guys can do it. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying that it's going to be comfortable. I'm not saying that it's not going to be trying. I'm not saying that it's not going to break you down to your knees sometimes. Sometimes you're not even going to be able to get out the bed, but it will be worth it.
Definitely worth it. I wouldn't change my journey for nothing, right? Because I firmly believe that I am exactly who I am today because of everything that I've been through.
We are.
And so if you change one thing, then you might change everything.
Correct.
And so I mentioned the conversation I had that I forgot to hit the record button on. She sat in that chair and she told me that even losing your child turned you into this person now, where we're sitting here talking on camera. And I was like, yeah, because I would have never sat down and talked on camera before losing a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have just kept it bottled up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the more I talk about it, the less angry I am.
When you talk about it doesn't change the outcome, but it gives you a release. And when you see that you can pour into someone else, when you see that you say something to somebody else that will help heal them and inspire them and encourage them in some kind of way, then that's how you know you're turning your pain into purpose.
Yeah.
So that is why, like, I'm one of those therapists. I tell people, like, therapists, we're not always supposed to talk about ourselves, right? But if I feel it's relevant, I will share something about myself so they know, like, I didn't just learn this from a professor or a book. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I have lived experience. So there's no judgment. Like, you are safe with me. So I'm not looking down my glasses if I have them on judging you, like, oh, you did what? Or you said what? Or you went through what? Because 9 times out of 10, I've been through it, or I know
Ooh.
somebody that has, and they respect that. That,
Yeah.
they're like, you know what? I appreciate it because I know that you're a real person. You're not just somebody with all these degrees and letters behind your name. You're actually a real person who can actually relate to what I've been through.
And I've been told that as well, like because I'm speaking, right? Like the trips and stuff that I post, that impresses people.
Mm-hmm.
But the conversations I have with them behind the scenes is what really impacts them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't realize how powerful my voice was until I started talking. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I'm I'm happy that I did, and I'm just gonna continue to try to keep going because
No,
it
you're definitely gonna keep going. Nothing is gonna stop you from.
nothing nothing.
n-
So
n-
let me take that back. I'm definitely gonna keep going, and I still got that internal battle.
we're always gonna have a part of that internal battle again, because in order to tap into it, you have to relive it. You have to think about it again. You have to remember it again. And some days are easier than others. And then some days we never want to do that. You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying? So that's when sometimes you have to go into your cave and decompress so you can come back out again, refreshed, because people don't understand that thinking about what you've been through, even hearing what somebody else has been through, that's called transference. You know
yeah.
what I mean? And that's depleting on your spirit, you know what I mean? On your heart, on your soul. And that's heavy. And that's why you attempted to take your life. I attempted to take my life twice. See, people don't know that.
Yeah, I'm 5 times in.
You know what I mean? People don't know that.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know what I
five.
mean? And it's because you're like, I just can't do this no more.
Yeah,
You know what I
and so
mean? And
now
it's because, why we couldn't do it anymore at that time? Because we wasn't talking about it.
because
We
we weren't
wasn't
talking
getting it
about it,
out. You know what I mean? So it's like, this shit is too heavy. Don't nobody give a fuck. And so fuck it. You hit the fuck it button. You know what I mean? And is that what we're supposed to do? No, but we didn't
no,
know no other way. Now we're using our voices and we're sharing. And the more we share, even though it's hard, it's healing.
it's definitely healing. And so that was one of the main reasons why my brother pushed me to talk because people don't understand the level of destruction that I be
Mm-hmm.
willing to cause,
Yes.
not only to myself
But to others.
but to others.
Yes.
And people, because I'm so sneaky, people assume that I am
Safe.
yes.
No, really, that you're safe.
But they forgot I was a burglar for 20 years.
Listen, sometimes I am ashamed of some of the things that I have done, but I'm also blessed.
I'm blessed because I lived through it.
Listen, because it's one thing that I can say that my mother has said. I'm her only child, and she has said so many times, I'm so glad that you were born a girl. Because she said, if you would have been a boy the way that you are, you would have been dead or in jail. And she's not wrong.
And so
You understand what I'm saying?
I definitely get what you're saying.
So I'm not glorifying anything that I have
I,
done. What I am saying is that I'm lucky to be here. I am blessed, and I am trying to turn my past transgressions, my mistakes, my trauma, my abuse, me being a victim, me being a survivor, into helping others.
and that's what this is. That's what this is for.
Yes, I even use it to make amends. Like, you know what? I know I did all of that. I need to be doing good.
So I tell people all the time, I push enough of God's buttons. I'm gonna go ahead and
Yes,
chill on
I'm
out.
gonna go ahead and
Because if I push one more button, he might be like, you know what? I'm tired of you.
right that and I have to say that when I get those emails, when I get those text messages, when I get those um, messages in Facebook, when I get those messages in Instagram, and when I'm out in public, people are coming up to me that I have never met, and they're like, "Please don't be alarmed. I know you from Facebook, and I just want to thank you for inspiring me." It makes it worth it to me. When my
It,
clients are sending me Christmas cards and saying I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, my family wouldn't be intact if it wasn't for you, then I know that everything I went through was for a purpose.
Because you're making an impact.
I make it an impact.
So I get random people that run up and give me the biggest hugs,
Yes.
and so that do
Yeah.
make it worth it. And then the fellas they be keep doing what you're doing, man. Yeah,
and you know that speaks volumes.
and it be people that be like, I don't never be on social media. I be on my girl phone. Or I be on my partner. Like, why you gotta? Why don't you say, I got a fake page or something? Like, you don't be on somebody's phone all the
But
time.
remember the machismo that you
The
guys have.
machismo, like,
Because they feel more comfortable saying it to me than they ever would feel comfortable saying it to you.
but
Because
I got more men saying it to me now. I just wish that the men won't get on camera.
Yes.
Like I ain't got them to that point yet. But I
Yeah.
actually go have like lunches with men one on one, and we have these type of talks. And like some of them have lost multiple children in the streets,
Absolutely.
and so like it is that is like I feel like this is my purpose, and
It is your purpose. It is. I
yeah.
mean, because I watch your videos, I be watching them, crying, and I'm like, oh my God, like that's so beautiful. You know what I mean? And then I think, for me, and I'm not going to say that it's not for other people, it's really impactful because I've known you for so long. So to
Yeah.
see the person who you used to be and to see who you've evolved to be, despite what made you get here, is beautiful to me. It is what I tell people is like you can overcome whatever. I like to
Yes.
use the analogy of 9/11. 9/11 was devastation. There was this big black hole in the ground. And when we go through pain, when we go through trauma, we go through abuse, that's what we feel is inside us. But if you look at 9/11 now, you would never even know that that happened.
Yeah.
It took years to rebuild,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's rebuilt. So I tell people you can come back from anything if you have the courage and the will to walk through that valley and dig
You
deep.
got to be intentional.
You have to be very intentional
I
to be
got I
to be
got to
able
I
to.
got to be intentional daily.
Yes,
I have to wake up and intentionally say today I'm gonna be a good human, or today I'm a, you know what I'm saying?
because it's a choice.
Yeah, it's definitely a choice.
It's definitely a choice. When people say, "Oh, this person did this to me," and I don't know if I can get past it. You can if you choose to.
I definitely choose to. And some days like last night, a song came on and reminded me of a baby, my baby girl, and you know, rage
Mm-hmm.
will hit you.
Absolutely.
But the thing about me is I've been through rage before, and I know that if I just breathe,
Mm-hmm.
like it's gonna pass.
Yep.
And so reading and understanding and learning emotional intelligence and knowing what builds resilience and all that, like
That's when those purposeful pauses come in handy.
purposeful pauses. It's power in the
Purposeful
pause.
pauses have saved a lot of people.
It's power in the pause.
You know what I mean? It's very powerful in the pause because we always say if somebody would have took 1 second and just took a breath or took a pause before they made that decision,
Yeah.
it would have changed the whole course of their life or somebody else's life.
So in part of my presentation, I got the segment called 90 seconds.
Hmm.
If you pause for 90 seconds during any
It'll go.
situation,
It'll go away.
it'll go so
Totally
much,
different
it'll
way.
go so much different. And it's a simple 90 seconds.
Yep. And,
If you
and
can
90 seconds does feel like a long time when you're feeling stressed or tension or rage, but it's
Yeah.
worth it.
But if you can take the deep breath for 90 seconds, you can regain the control that you need.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, I agree with that. I do because what it is because I remember when I had to go to court mandated anger management. Right, I was in there with all these people. Most of the people in there was in there for like stealing, and I was like, why am I in here with these people who I didn't steal shit? And it's because all of it boils down to impulse control.
impulse control.
You know what I mean? I was just like, okay. You know what I mean? So I have a lack of impulse control. It doesn't make me steal anything, but I understand now
Yeah.
why I was put in this group. You know what I mean?
And
Where it was teaching me how to control my impulses.
that's what the 90
Just
seconds.
because you feel like doing it doesn't mean that you should do it. You should stop, like you said, take that 90 seconds and think about the outcome. Because in 90 seconds, you can think about if I turn left, if I turn right, this is where I'm gonna end up. If I steal this thing, if I hit this person, if I say this thing, I can kind of determine that it's going to have a negative trajectory.
Yeah, that too. But even if you don't think about it, right? Even if you're not in that state of mind, if you just
Breathe.
breathe for 90 seconds,
It'll take you from here to here.
or at least here,
At least here.
at least here,
At
where you
least
can
here.
make
At bare minimum.
yeah, so you can make a more logical decision.
Right.
And so learning that, and I tell, because people be like, man, how long should you take a pause? At least take 90 seconds. And
Yes.
in the case of my daughter, I pray that the judge give me 40 years. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not supposed to be praying for someone to be incarcerated for 40 years. But that's the best outcome that I can give right now.
I mean, and again, people have to meet you where you are, because that's better than something else that you could be praying
Yeah,
for.
so I just pray that the judge give me a 40-year pause.
Yeah, 40-year pause.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because I also believe that the pause, depending on the level of pain, so the stronger the emotion, the longer the pause should be.
Yeah.
But at a minimum 90 seconds.
At a minimum 90 seconds. Like I'll adapt that. I mean, because I do take deep breaths and I do take the purposeful pauses. I have never been intentional about making sure that it was a full 90 seconds.
Yeah.
But when you say that, it's like that's a minute and a half. In a minute, a lot can happen in a minute. Think about basketball. A lot happens in a minute and a half.
A lot happens in a minute and a half, but it's science to back up why it's 90 seconds. It's actual science to back up that emotions is like a wave.
Yeah.
When it hits you, it takes 90 seconds to process through you. If you can stop yourself for 90
I
seconds.
was going to say, unless you feed into it.
Unless you feed
if you feed into it,
If
it
you
can last
feed
for a
into
long
it.
time.
Yeah, and we live our life continuously feeding the same negative emotion.
Like I said, we live our lives performing.
Right.
Because if we stop performing and we give ourselves that 90 seconds or more to process, to take the deep breaths, to meditate, to pray, to cry, to do whatever we need to do to replenish ourselves, we wouldn't walk around stiff. We wouldn't walk around on guard all the time. We wouldn't walk around, ready for whatever. You know what I mean?
So lately, I haven't been popping off. I haven't felt the need to like defend myself or prove myself because I've been taking the 90 seconds for some minute now. Like I've turned like and I so everybody at my job are like I don't want to say test dummies because that sounds crazy, but everybody at my job is an exercise.
Okay. Yes. I can see that.
Because a lot of people at my job don't get along or like there's different nationalities, so everybody got a backstory, right? So for like the last year and a half, I walk through and I call everybody easy money. I give Asians fist bumps. The Latinos taught me pinche dinero fácil.
Okay.
Which is their way of saying easy fucking money.
Okay.
Right? So
Okay.
I say it so much that they taught me how to say it in their language.
Okay.
Because they want to be in on it too. Right?
And that's the mindset you walk in.
I walk in with that easy money mindset.
I got this.
And
this is going to be
this
easy.
is going to be smooth.
Easy.
And so even if you don't like me at work, if you talking about me around, and they like, that's easy money. Like,
yes.
And so once I realized I could become the thermostat in every room, that's my way of controlling the work environment.
Yeah.
I'm just, hey, what's up, easy money? And it's been working.
Because it does start with a mindset.
It starts with a mindset.
It starts with a mindset. And also, again, it's a choice. You have now made the choice that no matter what you're walking in through that day, you are not going to allow it to control you.
No, definitely not. Because it's easy to walk around. So I came across somebody whose child was murdered and they just always angry. And I watch people physically change, right? Depression, anger, your emotions will weigh heavy on you.
And you won't sleep, you won't eat, you will eat
and so
too
they're
much.
aging right in front of my face.
Right.
And they're going through it so they don't understand it. And they're still not in a position or a place where they're willing to take like advice. So I do the best I can. And then like I talked to a woman whose 14-year-old son was murdered, and then her baby daddy committed suicide or completed suicide. Right? And So I'm talking, I'm getting all these real life situations, and I'm like, this can go so many ways. How do I want mine to go?
Right.
And so I'm like, Nana, everybody gonna know Nana name. Everybody gonna know what she look like. But in the end, it's gonna be a legacy built behind her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so that was an intentional decision.
And it was the best decision because you are impacting other people. There's no way that I could go talk to someone and have the same impact on them that you have, no matter how many degrees I have, no matter how many certifications I have, because I've lost people, but I've never lost a child.
Yes.
Only you know what it is that they're going through. Only you can relate to the pain that they're feeling. And that makes a difference.
And I tell
I'm a
people,
sexual survivor, so only I
you can
could talk
definitely,
to someone who is also a sexual survivor and say, I understand, what was taken from you.
and I understand what was taken from you, and I can show you how to
Yes,
successfully carry this weight with you.
yes,
Because I don't think that
correct.
we'll ever get over it,
We will
or
never get over it.
and so that's another thing. Like people be like, uh, "You'll be healed." Nah,
You know what?
it's a healing journey.
No,
Like
no,
I don't think we'll
no,
ever be healed from
no.
this.
Remember, I think I posted before, and
It's 11:14. You
I
ain't got
know,
oh.
I it's okay. Um, I remember I posted before and it really resonated with you. I was like, people try to say that time heals all wounds, and I hate that fucking saying. I mean, no disrespect to people who love it. I say that it is a lifelong, personal,
Journey.
intimate journey. However long it takes me to heal, somebody who went through the exact same thing as me, it might take them longer or they might heal faster. Please don't tell me that time heals all wounds because I'm still dealing with wounds at 52 that were inflicted on me at 3. So you cannot tell me that. And you cannot tell me, we would go into a whole nother segment, but I have to say that I love it when I see you say, please stop telling me that my loved one is in a better place because I want to
Man,
I want to fight people when they
that's
t- when they tell me things like that because
that'll
I'm
get
like,
you punched in
the
your snot box.
audacity of you, because I think that they would be better off with me.
Yeah,
D- it-
and so
you know what I mean?
the things that people say to people without understanding the full impact of what you're saying to people.
Yes.
And so, like, I've gotten to it with pastors about acceptance,
Hmm.
forgiveness, and telling me my baby's in a better place. Like, I don't care what your human title is.
Yeah.
Like, you gonna respect my position. I wrote a whole book called The Grief Cycle is Bullshit because the grief cycle is bullshit. Like, that doesn't even apply to someone who's lost a child. And then I've talked to a therapist and it was like, well, you just don't get it. I said, do you even understand that Elizabeth Kubler-Ross wrote that book as she was in a convalescent home watching people passing away from illnesses,
Hmm.
and that's their journey?
Hmm.
So how
Yes.
do you even compare that to someone who loses their child, who breaks the natural life cycle, and you trying to tell me that one size fits all, and it doesn't.
And I think that's what I'm saying is that I can experience the same thing, or you could experience the same thing, but we're all going to our path, our journey it's not gonna be exactly the same. It's just not. Some people deal with grief, beautifully, and they compartmentalize very well, and they can just get through it. And then some of us, you know, live with it every day. There's certain people that
Mm-hmm.
I've lost that I think about. If I think about them today, and I've lost them over 20 plus years ago, it feels like it just happened 5 minutes ago, and that doesn't make me wrong or broken. It just makes me that's my unique grief. That's my unique grief journey.
And I just tell people, I'm not trying to tell you how to live your life.
But
Please,
just respect how
please
just
stop trying to
respect the
tell
space.
me how to live
Yeah,
mine.
just respect the space that I'm
And
in.
and please understand that when I say fuck forgiveness, I'm not on no revenge tour.
Yeah,
That would have happened day 2.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like I'm not on a revenge tour, but I'm also not giving forgiveness out like that. And people that be talking that forgiveness thing, They don't even understand that I don't even have the power to forgive you. He eliminated the only person that can forgive him. It's the person who the transgression was against that has to forgive you.
Yeah.
I can't forgive you because you didn't I'm affected by what you did, but you didn't do it to me. You eliminated the only person that can forgive you,
Yes.
right? So stop telling me something that I'm not even technically possible to do.
Well, but I also see it from a different perspective too. Is that I feel like again, people just need to respect the space that each individual is in.
Yeah,
Don't tell me to do what you would do, or don't tell me to do what you think you
because you're not
might,
in
because
you're
you're not
not in
even in
these
that,
shoes.
you're not even in that position, so you don't even know that you would be able to do it. And that's why I say, like, some people need to understand that, my shoes might be nice, but you don't even know if you could walk in these shoes.
Eh,
You understand what I'm saying? You can theoretically say what you would do if A, B, or C or D happened to you, but you don't know it until it happens to you. So don't judge anyone. That's why I always post, like, stop judging people. Like,
Yeah,
you don't know their story, you don't know what they've been through. You stop telling people how they should feel. That's a huge pet peeve that I have. Even as a therapist, I don't tell people how they should feel. I hate when people used to tell me, well, you shouldn't feel that way. You shouldn't have reacted that way. I did the best that I could with what I knew how at the time, and I reacted in the way that it impacted me.
yeah.
Now, older and wiser and having more tools, maybe I would react differently, but don't judge me for reacting to something that impacted me in such a huge way.
And the what I've learned is some of the people that judge, if you looked at them, they've acted a similar way for way less.
Or they have other coping
And,
mechanisms that may not be
and,
healthy. And that's what I say. Everybody has their own coping mechanism, and we as people should just stop judging other people. You know what I
and,
mean? We should just give each other grace. And if what that person is doing doesn't work for you, then just give them some distance. But don't judge them, because again, that person snorting coke, I don't know what they've been
and I
through.
don't judge them,
But
but
and I, but they're judging other
they're
people.
judging me.
Yes.
And so like I look at people and I give everybody grace to grow, and I try to be as kind to people as possible because I don't want to be the person that sends them over the edge, because I also understand now that it's a lot of people that I would have never ever thought looked up to us.
Yes.
And when someone looks up to you or holds you in a higher regard, your words have a different impact on them.
Absolutely.
And I didn't understand that concept for a long time, right? Till I spoke with someone and they was like, DB, it's different when you say it, because yeah, everybody else down here, but the way that you conduct yourself and the way that you carry yourself, you up here. And I'm like, why am I
So now
look?
that's the saying. Well, what did that come from? Spider-Man? With power comes great responsibility.
Oh, so my cousin Steve used to always tell me this before he passed away in this motorcycle accident. To whom much is given, much is required.
Man, yeah, man, absolutely. You know what I
And,
mean?
and
And people are watching and observing our words and our movements and how we conduct ourselves
it's
more
kind
than
of
we
it's
even,
kind of unfair
you know
though.
what I mean? More than we realize. However, though, with that, we have, how can I say, we have the power to instill in people and to give people what wasn't given to us. So yes, it's not fair. It's like this blessing and a curse at the same time, but it's so impactful and it's such a blessing, because now I can pour love into people and I can help heal people in a way that was never given to me.
And so that's the
And that's
goal.
gratifying.
And so with that being said, I think this has been a lovely
It
conversation
has absolutely been a lovely
with the Miss
conversation.
Nika Jackson, and I'm looking forward to having another conversation with you
Oh no,
because
absolutely. I always love when we run into each other because, like you
most
say, it's
definitely.
always some type of. We both leave with some kind of a nugget, even when it's not intentional. It just happens. It happens organically.
So, with that being said, until next time, have a blessed, stress-free day because you definitely deserve it. I love you. Peace.